Welcome back to another video, battlers. It's Jake. How was your day going? And I'm coming at you with some more tournament battle action, coming to you guys with a regionals tournament from the Mirror Cup hosted in the Palette League Rising Star tier lobby of the Ghost Stadium Discord. And we have round one up here for you guys against Jacksonian Way, and we're gonna be running for our regionals team Swampert with that quick charging fast move Mud Shot. Then we have Hydro Cannon and Earthquake for its charge moves. Next up on our team we have Bastiodon with Smackdown, Stone Edge, and Flamethrower. Then we have Skarmory with Air Slash, Sky Attack, and Flash Cannon. We have the Medicham with Counter, Power Up Punch, and Ice Punch. We have Venusaur with Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, and Sludge Bomb. And last but not least, we have the Azumarill with the Bubble, Ice Beam, and the Play Rough. We decided to not go for a Hydro Pump, considering we had plenty of other things to counter Skarmory, like we had Swampert and we also had the Bastiodon. So we didn't feel like we needed that much coverage against other flyers and other rock and steel types, because we have Swampert, we have Venusaur, and we have Medicham. So yeah, like I said, this is on Palette League in the Ghost Stadium Discord, Rising Star tier, and our first opponent is the Jacksonian Way, who's running pretty much the same, well, half of the same team. He's running Medicham, Azumarill, Bronzong, Skarmory, Shiftry, which is a really interesting pick, probably with Riz Relief, and then Swampert. Right before we get into this video, guys, please don't forget to smash that subscribe, leave a like, comment down below, and show me some love on the video, guys. I really do appreciate that. And so without further ado, let's get right into round number one against Jacksonian Way. So guys, in this first matchup, we're gonna go with our trusty lineup of Skarmory, Azumarill, and I believe it was Venusaur or Medi. So here we go, guys. We lead Skarm, and he leads that Shiftry. Now this is an incredible matchup. You can just farm away. And he's gonna switch out immediately into that Azumarill. And you know what? We're like, okay, fine. We can handle this because we have another check in the back to that Shiftry. That is the Medicham. Since Shiftry is part dark, those counters will be doing SE, meaning super effective. So right here, we're gonna switch into Azumarill trying to bait an Ice Beam, but he is really smart and waits to see what comes in. So it's going to be two play roughs back, pretty much like back to back here, which I'm completely okay with. If anything, allowing this Azu to die means his Shiftry won't have any sort of like impact on the game, which is great. And so here he's gonna decide to swap into the Bronzong, which is, you know what, we're fine with that, because we're gonna be hitting the Bronzong with somewhat okay damage here from our bubbles, even though our charge moves won't be dealing effective damage. We can now bring in pretty much whatever we want, and we can with Medicham, this allows us to, we obviously have to block that Side Shock, right? This allows us to be able to farm some energy, and it allows us to allow our Medicham to get boosted. So for when that Shiftry comes back in, because we know that's what he has in the back, and we're pretty much all set to go here. Because we farm that Bronzong down, right? We have the full Power Up Punch ready to go, and then boom, he brings in the Shiftry. But we are already powered up, and because he is part dark, look at that damage from one measly Power Up Punch, guys. Almost one shots that Shiftry. In comes the Azu. We can get another Power Up Punch off, which may even cause a shield, but he decides to not shield. Oh well, because he doesn't have any shields left. So that's even better for us. We still have a shield. We can block whatever this is, and we have the Sky Attack ready to go. And right there, we learn he's running the Hydro Pump and Play Rough sets. So arguably the best set to run. But because of that, we know Venusaur is now a pretty strong pick against this team. I mean, like, besides the Skarm and Bronzong matchups, obviously. We know that his Azu can't hold its own against other grass types. Alright guys, so in this match, in this follow-up battle, we're going to be leading Azu. We have Skarm in the back and our trusty boy, our counter boy in the middle. And this is going to be a fantastic lead for us. We have Azu against Swampert. This is a really positive matchup. As long as you can block one Earthquake, you'll be good to go. So I'm just going to go straight up Ice Beam. Try to maybe force a shield, and he does shield, so that's great. One shield down already. Even if he goes for the shield bait here, there's no point to block, or an Earthquake won't do too much damage. And if it's Hydro Cannon, it actually pays off for us, because he did waste that energy. So now we're going to go for yet another Ice Beam, and he decides to commit both shields. So right here I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna shield this, and surely enough it was an Earthquake. So now we are ahead on this matchup. We are good to go. Even if this is an Earthquake, we don't need to block. We're gonna live. Actually, no, I take that back. I lied. We do die from that. It was extremely close though. I know how much Earthquake does to Azu, and I know that that was very close. But, you know, worst case scenario here, we get energy on our Medicham, and we decide to not block because, well, I like to live life on the edge, guys. You know what I'm saying? For Cliffhanger, living on the edge. But yeah, he decides to bring in his Skarm, and this is okay because we still have that shield, and our Medicham is now powered up a decent bit. And so here we're gonna switch into our Skarm because we know by looking at his team, guys, the only other counter to Skarm that he had was Azu, and we got rid of his Swampert, which was one of his main Skarm counters. And because of that, we know what are the odds he has Azu in the back. Not really that high, because that would be running a double water team. And well, surely enough, guys, he has that grass type in the back. And yep, here we go with the Skarm mirror match. I still have that shield. This obviously will be blocked, and we pretty much can wrap up the game here with our last Sky Attack. And we do indeed take the game, and we win round number 1, 2-0. So GG's and very well played, Jacksonian way. On to round number 2. Alright guys, so right before we jump into round number 2, we're going to be up against Ragtags, and his team will be Swampert, Azumarill, Probopass, Skarmory, Gallade, and the Medicham. So we see his team is pretty interesting because he has plenty of counters to Skarm. So we decided not to run Skarm in the first match, or at least not to lead it. We actually opt to lead with Azumarill because if we're in our opponent's head right now, we're thinking, okay, his team is pretty weak to Medicham. If we're looking at my team, because Medicham, as you can see, beats Skarmory in the 2 shields, right? It beats Bastiodon hardcore hands down. It beats Swampert in the 2 shields. It beats Venusaur in the 2 shields. It obviously will tie against an opposing Cham in the 2 shields. And then the only thing that's really stopping it is an Azumarill lead. But the thing about that is, he probably thinks Azumarill won't be a lead because he has 2 counters to it. Not only Gallade with Leaf Blade, but also Probopass. So what this means is he's probably not expecting an Azumarill lead. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Azumarill is a really solid lead here. The only thing stopping Azu is a Probopass or a Gallade. So jumping into game number 1 of round 2, guys, we're going to be leading Azu. And just as we suspected, he leads the Medicham because he sees has a very good matchup against my squad. And then he switches into Skarmory. Now this is a great matchup for Swampert. It will dominate Skarmory in all shield scenarios. Closest being 0, I believe. And so, yeah, we're just going to farm a ton of energy off this Skarm and then hit him with 1 Hydro Cannon. If he blocks, we can hit him with 2 pretty much back to back. So he's going to get off a second Sky Attack, which we don't have to block. We know we can survive. And right here, we under tap and get to this Hydro Cannon. And next he brings in his Azu, but he can only get 1 chance to farm off it. One freaking bubble, which is great. And we're gonna switch into our Skarm. And now we're just waiting to see what he reveals for his moveset. We do unfortunately not hit the excellent. That's fine. Whatever this is, we're not gonna block though. I don't believe we blocked this. Yeah, and it's an Ice Beam. So we're like, okay, He has Ice Beam and something else, so most likely Play Rough, but we shall see. He decides to block that as well. And I believe we don't block it, we let it go. It's perfectly okay. And then oddly enough, he switches into Medicham, which just means we can farm even more off his own Medicham. So yeah, we're just gonna go for the Play Rough here, and then pretty much just fast move it down. We are gonna take a bit of a beating here from his counters after this next power punch. But you know what, we're like, okay, that's fine. We even take another power up punch, which we're like, okay, go ahead. We still have another shield. No matter how low we get, bubbles do like 1 damage, not even 1. Like very little damage, basically. And we know we can pretty much just KO this Azumarill down. And we're gonna under tap to get the Ice Beam. It's not like it mattered, we still had a shield. And we are going to finish game 1. Alright, so jumping into this next game, guys, we're going to be running again with the strategy of 2 water types. So Azumarill and Swampert pair really well together, guys, especially when you have Azumarill running Ice Beam. And this time he decides to open Galley, which is a bit of a problem for us, but we know we can burn both shields really early on with these Hydro Cannons, because he's going to want to keep this positive matchup. So obviously, as a Swampert, you're going to want to invest that 1 shield so that you can burn their 2 shields. And so right here, we're going to go for the Hydro Cannon. And by counting this Galley, we're going to switch out into Skarmory. But he was expecting the switch, and he's going to hit us here with the close combat. Now that's going to hurt a ton, but it's okay because he has no shields left. And right here is when he switches into his Probopass. Now this is a bit of a problem, but because of that energy we farmed off of the Gallade, we had enough to hit him with 1 Flash Cannon. And now we're in a bit of a tricky scenario because he still has that Gallade, and this Probo has a bunch of built up energy. So here we're gonna shield, but obviously we know he has 2 back-to-back. So down goes that. We have Azu in the back, and this is not looking good whatsoever, guys. We do get to hit him with an Ice Beam, but that will not be enough. He will get to that, what is it, Thunderbolt? Yeah, it is Thunderbolt. And he's going to switch back out into the Skarmory so that I can't farm down his Probopass. And this is pretty much going to be a GG for game number 2. He will be forcing it in game 3. Very well played in this round. And yeah, it's pretty much GG's there. And down I go. Yeah, let's get into the final game of this match. Alright, so jumping into the final game, 3rd game of the set, we open Azumarill, and he opens with the Gallade again. Now, I was not expecting this. I was like thinking he would expect me to lead Skarm since he led Gallade. And in my head, I thought, okay, he would probably lead with Swampert to counter my Skarmory lead prediction. But he decides to lead it again. We're like, you know what? That's okay. You can kill our Azu. I don't really care. Unfortunately, we do overtap the Ice Beam, so we don't get to force a second shield. But this means we can farm this Gallade down with our Skarm. And we're like, okay, we counted the confusions, and we know this is probably close combat, so we do block it. Now we have a decent amount of energy, and he brings in Probopass. Now this is where I got a bit scared, but I realized I had Medicham in the back, and so I switch immediately. He counter switches to Skarm, but we do have the extra shield, so we do win this scenario. Or not the shield, we have the extra just energy we built up. So we're gonna block this Sky Attack and unleash another power up punch, and these are gonna really start hurting now. So he does decide to block that one, and we do actually under tap, guys. We under tap the Skarmory here, which is crucial because all he has left in the back is that Probopass, and he needs to try to get rid of me ASAP. But it's a Rock Slide, guys, and look at the amount of damage we're getting on this Probopass right now. Just enough to where our Skarmory could come in with that preloaded energy, fire off the Flash Cannon, and KO that Probopass. So that was the winning play there. Switching into Medicham was the right call. We were able to get enough energy in, like, before he swaps into Skarmory, so that we could basically just, I was able to get enough counters on to his Probopass so that Skarmory could come in and finish the job. So GG's well played. We take round number 2, 2-1, and now let's move into round number 3 against Wildcards Phoenix. Alright guys, so jumping into round number 3 against Wildcards Phoenix, this team will be Medicham, Skarmory, Venusaur, Quagsire, Probopass, and Jirachi. So the first team all tournament long we haven't seen an Azu in. So right off the bat, we know that running Medicham here is really strong. We know it has pretty much positive matchups against everything. Like besides a few, like not Venusaur. I mean, pretty much only Jirachi, but even that matchup is very close and can sway either way depending on who shields what. But I mean, for the most part, Medicham is by far the safest lead against the squad. So we're going to be leading Medicham here. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be leading with that Medicham. We have our Swampert in the middle in case he brings in the Jirachi. And then we have our Skarmory in the back in case of the Venusaur. So we're both going to be leading Medicham here. It's a mirror match. I believe I got CMP in this first game. As you can see, yeah, we do have CMP. So we should be able to win this mirror match. CMP is an awful mechanic, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, this is a pretty annoying mirror match to play out. It's pretty boring. Nothing much really happening. We're just slugging at each other with counters. And so yeah, we're gonna pretty much fire off this final power punch, and let's see if he blocks. He does not, so that's fine. We don't need to block this. So we end up winning the mirror match just by HP, which is actually solid because whatever comes in, we'll get hit with at least one counter, so it's a tiny bit of chip damage, and it is a Skarmory. So we know that Swampert has a really good matchup against Skarmory, and if he decides to swap into Venusaur, we have a super hard counter that is our own Skarmory in the back. So we're going to force the first shield out of him now. We also shield so that we can keep this matchup a positive one. And here, we're going to just fire off another Hydro Cannon. At this point, we're thinking, okay, there's no way he has Venusaur in the back because he hasn't swapped out yet. So we're like, you know what, this is probably going to be a Jirachi in the back, or maybe even a Probopass. So you know what, we're going to farm down and hit him with yet another Hydro Cannon. And he still has that shield, and look at that. It is Jirachi in the back. So we're feeling confident now. We can burn this last shield. And boom, there it goes. It's burned. And unfortunately, we can't get to another Hydro Cannon. But fortunately for us, Skarmory without shields, with shields down in this matchup, does indeed win. We both are going to be dealing not very effective damage to each other, I believe. Yeah, but Skarmory hits slightly harder than Jirachi. And yeah, we're gonna take this just barely. We're gonna be able to beat him to that last Doom Desire, which is great for us. We hit the excellent, and down goes Jirachi to take game number 1. So yeah, very well played there. That was a close one. And let's get into game number 2. Alright guys, so getting into game number 2, we're going to do the same lead with our Medicham, and he decides to lead Jirachi. Now we're like, you know what? We can play this out. We know this isn't that bad of a matchup. There's no need to really switch and give up your advantage there. And he decides to not block the first power punch. So this means we're going to... I believe we do shield our Medicham here. Or no, actually we don't. Because... Oh no, we do, sorry. But we know he probably has two of those stacked up. So we decide, you know what, we're just going to let it go. And wow, we were surprised that that steel move did that much damage. But now we know Swampert can farm this thing down, which is great energy for Swampert to take control of this match. He's gonna bring in the Medicham. I was a little scared expecting a Venusaur, but we got lucky and he didn't leave Venusaur, or he didn't bring Venusaur in his team, I should say. And we're just gonna pretty much end up doing work to this Medicham, and we're gonna switch into our Skarm so that we can hang on to that Swampert a little bit for the back, for whatever he has in the back. And it is Skarmory, so that was actually, you know, I would have been safe either way, either letting Swampert die or switching in Skarmory, but I feel like Skarmory was the right choice because at that point he hadn't even used a single power-up punch yet. So we're like, okay, we can take 2 power-up punches easily. And so yeah, this is gonna work out, I think. Skarmory mirror match, you guys know the deal here. Very boring. We're just yada yada yada, and then in comes our Swampert. He switches immediately into Medicham, but that's fine. We end up KOing it with the Hydro Cannon. Swampert charges up really dang fast, so we're gonna beat this Skarmory to the next Sky Attack with our own Hydro Cannon, and that's going to be a wrap on game number 2, which means we take the set 2-0, guys, and advanced to the final round, being undefeated. Our final opponent, our final block in the road, is going to be Mike MF. Alright guys, so for round number 4, the final round of the Ghost Stadium Regionals Tournament, we're going to be up against our boy. He is a challenger, very skilled player. That is going to be Mike MF. So his team, he's going to be running the triple flyer setup with Altaria, Tropius, and Skarmory, and alongside those he has things like Sableye, Medicham, and Lantern. So really common lineup for regionals. Pretty strong team that was founded by, I forget which player it was who created this team, but yeah, it's basically a bait to get you to run Skarmory. And then once you run Skarmory, they catch you, trap you with a Lantern. And yeah, let's see how this goes. So we're going to be leading with Medicham. We have Azu in the middle, and then we have Skarmory in the back. And we don't know what his Tropius is running. We're probably thinking Air Slash, right? Because that's been part of the meta lately. But he opens Lantern, which is a solid matchup for our Medicham. And right here, he switches out, so we save our energy and we decide to go for the mirror match, which in hindsight wasn't the best choice. We should have went Azu because that eliminates his chance to farm down Azu if he has a Tropius in the back, and that puts our Skarmory at a losing scenario because, well, we won't survive with our Skarmory to farm his Tropius. So that's our first mistake there. I need to get better at thinking ahead and looking at their team and thinking, okay, the best scenario for me here is to eliminate his chance to farm by switching into the Pokemon that will get farmed by the other Pokemon in the back. Basically, it's thinking ahead, right? And here he wins switch advantage, which is a major L for me because he'll be able to see what I bring in, and it's going to be Medicham again. So now I'm expecting it's probably going to be Tropius, and surely enough, it is. And this is why I should have switched to Azumarill instead of Skarmory, because of this right here. So we're going to go for the Power Punch, and then we're going to go for the Ice Punch. He calls the bait perfectly, which is just really bad for us. We have to block this because, I mean, we have Azu in the back, right? So our only hope is to hit this Power Punch, or Ice Punch, I should say. And he decides to block that as well. So really just great prediction skills there. All we can do now is switch into Azu to feint this Tropius with an Ice Beam. I mean, at this point in the game, he could have switched into Lantern. But in comes his Lantern now. And I believe we actually block this. No, we do not block. We save it because we have Medicham with a decent amount of health, actually. This is possible. This comeback here is actually possible. So we're going to power up our Medicham once again. And at this point, we're maxed out, guys. And we blocked the Thunderbolt, and we actually have enough energy to get off another Power Punch. So we turned what was a very bad game into a slight win for us. So a mistake on his end was staying in with that Tropius. If I were him, I definitely would have swapped immediately into Lantern. And mistake by me earlier on in the game was switching into the wrong Pokemon. So basically, guys, if you see this team, you know they're probably going to run at the Tropius, right? Or at least one of the flyers. And in that case, he ran both Skarmory and Tropius. So knowing well, I knew he would have ran Tropius. In the moment, I thought Skarmory was the better option, but I knew in the back of my mind that he probably had a Tropius. So switching into Azu there wasn't the smartest play by me. I was just thinking... I was thinking too much in the time. Okay, so here we're going to open Azu in game number 2, and he opens the Tropius. So this is bad because Air Slash Tropius will obviously be able to get to those Leaf Blades much quicker because of its production of energy, opposed to Razor Leaf. But Razor Leaf is more of a fast damage nuke, and so there he decides to not block the Ice Beam. So I'm like, huh, we can force this into a positive matchup, but we're gonna let it go. We know we can farm at least a little bit with Skarmory here, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in Skarmory, farm just about enough for a Sky Attack, not quite, but that's okay. And he's gonna swap into the Lantern, and this is where things go really bad because we're gonna eventually switch into our Medicham. But at this point, we know he probably has Sableye in the back because people who run Lantern also really like to run Sableye because they're both really great with each other. One counters a common check to the other, and yeah, so he's gonna realize that, and he's gonna switch into a Sableye, and this is where it's pretty much GG because the Medicham checks the Lantern really well, and Sableye checks Medicham, and then let me think here. Skarmory will check Sableye, which gets checked by the Lantern. So yeah, our Medicham isn't really going to be able to do much here. Shadow Claws are just doing way too much damage at this point in time, and he still has one more shield for the Medicham. So yeah, he's going to shield it, and down we go. So he forces a game 3, and just he led Tropius, and I wasn't expecting a Tropius lead after that, to be honest. But it is what it is. Let's jump into game number 3. Alright, so game number 3, we're leading with Medicham, and he leads Medicham. So we're like, you know what? This is actually kind of good. Especially if he doesn't bring in Lantern. Because we eliminate his ability to farm us with the Tropius or a Sableye, and basically we're in the mirror match. So we do have CMP, which means CMP is charge move priority, which means you get to the charge moves first. Or well, you could technically... You both get to the charge move at the same time, but you get priority. You get to use the charge move first. So yeah, very boring matchup. He decides to swap into Sableye, which is a great swap. It made me use my energy, but we brought in Bastiodon this time. And this, guys, oh my god, another time. I'm sorry if you guys heard that. I'll mute it if it's too bad in the recording. But this is another one of those times where I'm thinking too quickly and switching into Bastiodon immediately when I know he probably has a flyer in the back, guys. This is a mistake by me. This is what's going to cost me this game. We have Venusaur in the back, guys, and we know what's in the back of his team. We know it's going to be a flyer. Because why else would he switch into Medicham instead? Right? I mean, obviously, anyone in the right mind would switch into Medicham here. But the problem is, all we have now is our Venusaur. And a Venusaur will not be able to do much against Medicham. Especially since he has the energy. So we're gonna have to block this, knowing dang well it's gonna be Ice Punch. And look at what comes in the back, guys. It's Tropius. And although we do have a better matchup against it with Sludge Bomb, he doesn't have to block. And these air slashes are going to do work on our Venusaur. And this is where we knew we messed up, because Bastion would have been a wall to this thing had I not switched it in earlier against that Sableye. Should have went Venusaur, guys. Should have went Venusaur against the Sableye. And that right there is going to be a wrap. He will KO me with the Leaf Blade. And we lose round number 4, 2-1. We had the first game. We had a great read. But in the second 2 games, we just decided to swap into the wrong Pokemon. The Pokemon that are not the best suit for the end game. I knew it. I knew he was going to run Tropius. But for some reason, I decided to switch into my counter to Tropius, which was a big mistake, and which overall led me to lose that final game. So these are the final results of the tournament, guys. As you can see, I myself went 3-1, and basically me and Mike MF are the reason why there was a 4-way tie. I lost, being the only one who was undefeated, causing this 4-way tie. So let's see here. I was technically on the top in terms of points, but trailing right behind are the other 3 winners. So there's me, there's Wildcards Phoenix, there's Smizmatch, and then there is Mike MF. So congratulations to all of us for taking the 4-way tie. Those were really just well played games by everyone I faced. And yeah, GG's in that tournament. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tournament recap coverage. And yeah, overall, I hope you guys learned something about regionals. You enjoyed this video. I know the season is over, but I wanted to at least come out with another tournament that I had not posted on the channel yet. So here you guys go. Hope you enjoyed this, and tell me if you'd like to see my other tournament recaps that I have in store in the comments down below. So with all that said, guys, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to smash that like. Leave a subscribe if you are new. It really does mean a lot to me. It makes me happy. And smash that bell notification so you can be notified whenever I upload a video. And also, I have made a subscriber channel on Discord, a server I should say, a subscriber server on Discord. So I will leave a link to that down below in the description. So make sure to go check that out and join the Discord with a lot of other subscribers and battlers. Make sure to add them up, guys. This is purely for you guys. I'll be on there chatting like I have been the past few days, and all my videos and all my live streams will be posted on there as well. So that's just another way to connect with me and the subscribers on the channel. And yeah, until the next video, guys, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care and peace out.